Okay, allow me to welcome all your attendants again and our distinguished guest, especially the Honorable Mr. Silk. Welcome. And also all our friends here, I'm not going to mention all of your names, especially for the speakers and also our friends here. I'm going to mention your name and title later on, trying to save some more time for our speakers' precious presentation. And when we start this, I would like to talk a little bit about the background of this side event. The event has been jointly organized by Marshall Islands and Itri of Taiwan, and the topic has been titled as the Enhancing Ambitions with International Cooperation Toward a Success 2015 Net Zero Transformation. And we all understand that it's going to be a very critical issues lately, especially for the success of the COP28. It's about how can we assist the developing countries, especially like the island country, to survive the deadly threat of the extreme weather. Especially we all evidence what's happening in this year. And certainly the progressive achievement of the loss and damage fund give us some hope. And in addition to that, I would like to also mention that with like the company from Taiwan like OLED, their generous contribution to support all the developing countries' development and the resilience development as well has been very important. And I think that's why they are going to introduce to us to about what their purpose, their ideology, and their achievement too. So maybe we can start from the welcome remark addressed by the Honorable Minister John Silk. Let's welcome the ministers.
Thank you. I will be very brief, but let me reiterate our welcome as a co-host with the national, University and ITRI, co-host with ITRI. Welcome to all of you. My good friend Stephen, Zier, representing All Right, and of course we have a Director of Climate, Clarence Samuel, is here with us, Secretary of Finance is here with us, Joao Alonso, and of course representatives from the Hague University, and Mr. Jin from the ITRI. Thank you all for coming. I can't name all of you, but thank you all for coming to this presentation this evening, and we look forward to our discussions and exchange with all of you this evening. But again, welcome on behalf of the government of the Marshall Islands and as a co-host with the ITRI. And thank you all.
Well, thank you, Honorable Mr. Silk. And next, I would like to invite Mr. Ge from Oleide. So you can have the floor, and I know you are going to introduce us about a short video program, right? So maybe let's put on the screen first, and then invite you over. So please, roll on.
You look out the window and watch the climate change happen.
melting of the glaciers is anticipated to cause a 7-meter sea level rise. I'm sure one can do the math, but this scenario paints a bleak future for a country like the Marshall Islands.
Every time I notice that at 12 o'clock lunchtime, the island is getting hotter and hotter by the day.
We're seeing extensive droughts. Like right now, we're not supposed to be seeing rain as we've seen the past weeks. So climate change has altered very likely.
The more the sea level rises, the less land we get. It's affecting our agriculture. Can't plant anywhere near seawater because the plants are going to die.
The peak that used to happen at about February once a year, it's happening almost every other month. Inundation of water into the land, inland water inundating. The water is now next to the people's house.
海水侵蚀已经到，你看哈，到侵蚀到路边来了，一路上都是这样子啊，然后土地的流失哈，海岸线被侵蚀哦，这非常明显。这个地方的飞机场，我来看到我吓一跳啊，因为你看这里哦，不是柏油路的机场啊？刚降落的时候呢，其实有些海水都已经打上来了，侵蚀它的海岸线呢非常的严重。我们刚沿路看到很多的树啊，都已经往海岸边那边倒下去了。潮汐的时候呢，这条飞机跑道呢就不见了，就到海底下去了哦，造成他们生活居民上的影响非常的大。
And maybe it's because of climate change, I don't know. But the climate change could also be positive. So we could grow another species of vegetables.
No.
The habits, it's not about climate. Forget all about climate. Because it's small peaks.
So climate change is always a bad thing?
No.
No.
In South Greenland it's good because we are growing, agriculture is getting warmer down there and sheep farmers are using that.
This is good for us. We like that it's getting warmer, and I can see that. I can see why they would want it to be warmer. Some of them said that, not all of them, but I think there was a few where they said it's actually good that it's getting warmer and that they're welcoming some of the changes. But what's good for them is devastating for us. What might seem positive, getting warmer, not being as cold, is actually going to impact our entire livelihoods.
I know the position, especially further south or the very south of Greenland, that farmers would claim that the crops are growing faster. They get more to feed the animals with grass and stuff like that. But it seems like it's like peeing in your pants. that it warms for a little while and then it gets cold again. If not, we are able to hunt. That's what we live off. We live off fishing. We live by the ice, with the ice. If it disappears totally, who are we then?
there is something wrong, we have to move, to leave our island. But you know, this is our homeland and we really love it. We can do nothing. Cannot accommodate all the people here, take them over when there is something wrong.
The ice are melting and the sea is rising. Here in the Marshall Islands, we are already experiencing the effect of climate change. And we are on the front lines of this global crisis.
There's a saying in Marshallese that man without a land is no man. And for anybody just to come and say, why don't you just move to another high mountain land? They have no understanding of who we are as Marshallese. It's not that simple as just leave your land.
아마도 아리 삼넉 이마저 너트는 오시면 공막술넉 합니다. 이리와고 시월이다 지금
But at some point, when the water becomes too warm out here, the shrimp population will then migrate further north.
We're noticing a huge amount of significant decline in the fish. When I was young, we could just go out for an hour or two and we'd catch a lot of fish. Nowadays, you gotta go out real far.
But if it warms up, the fish may not be able to be there. You can't fish. If you can't fish, you can't survive.
Somewhere it's getting even colder, somewhere else it's getting warmer, the rain is falling more heavily, the storms are stronger, and you know, everything is changing. So it's a global phenomena. And I read somewhere recently that the number of sled dogs, for instance, have been diminishing. Like half of the sled dogs the owners had to kill them because they couldn't afford to feed them because they cannot go on the sea ice anymore.
The world will not end. If we get climate change, it will be a new situation. But we will not all die and the earth will not end. It will just be another one. And it's very important that the young people do not panic and say, oh, now everything stops. No, we have to take the challenge to think, to adapt, and to cut back on emissions in a sensible way. But take it easy. Don't panic.
And the last 3 IPCC reports have been pretty conclusive in saying it's CO2, we need to lower CO2, it's CO2, we need to lower CO2, it's CO2, we need to lower CO2. I don't think writing more scientific papers is the best way to address this problem. You could hire 1,000 glaciologists and the ice sheet will still melt at the same rate. All we can do is diagnose the scale of the problem. So I think the most important task facing us right now on the climate action is educating people and educating the people in charge or educating the people who aren't in charge to tell the people who are in charge what to do. Trying to wrap that up for people in a way that they can digest in between the other things they have going on in their lives. I mean, looking after the kids, looking after the parents, doing their job at work, maybe having a hobby, seeing their friends, and then caring for climate 1%, 2%, maybe 5% of the time.
A lot of times when we bring up the concept of climate change, they understand what it is. They know what climate change is, but they don't necessarily understand what causes it. And so there's a lot of misinformation about who causes climate change. And so some of the education we've had to do is to teach people that actually international organizing and international advocacy is necessary for the climate crisis, for the Marshallese people.
Generally in all of the countries about the climate change that is happening now. Because after all, climate change is under children's rights. Every child has the right to live in good conditions.
解冻格陵兰，采访记录团队亲自造访11个城镇，与专家学者、政府官员、当地居民深度访谈。气候变迁已经是不争的事实，因应调适跟积极的付诸行动，才是我们每一位都必须面对的课题。
So, melting Greenland, saving the Iceland is so touching, isn't it? But to those people who live on Marshall Island, it's not just a story, it's live of that. So let's invite the co-founder of Alright, Mr. Ge, to give us the background story about this documentary, please.
谢谢范老师。Good evening， 有亏有，你好。我用中文来说明一下我拍这一部纪录片。首先呢，我先感谢马绍尔总统，就是Mr. President David Kabua， 还有就是我们的自然资源跟天然资源跟商务部长，就是Minister John Silk。 还有我们的科长 Director Samuel 都在现场。
First of all, I would like to thank the Minister of President David Kabua and also President Kabua and Minister John Silk and also Director Samuel Clarence to invite us to Marshall Islands.
可以放我的简报吗？我跟各位报告一下，就是在过去这段时间里面，我们跑到了北极的格陵兰，也跑到了马绍尔群岛，来拍这一部具有意义的环境教育纪录片。
For the past year, we've been to Greenland and also Marshall Island to make this meaningful documentary about climate change.
正如联合国秘书长所说的，现在是地球沸腾的时代了。
As the Secretary General have been said, this is the era of global boiling.
很不幸的，在今年的4月27号，我们看到 MOAA 的报告里面呢，就是我们知道距离1.5度 C 呢是430个 ppm 的突破点，可是今年4月27号我们是测到了427.6个 ppm， 所以预估在未来几年之内，我们很快的就会突破1.5度 C。
Yeah, and this year on April 27th, according to MOAA, the carbon dioxide concentration has reached the height of 427.6 ppm. That's about to reach the 1.5 warming threshold. That means 430 ppm.
是，那我们在北极采访 IPCC 的科学家就很不幸的告诉我们， 每一秒在格陵兰岛上是1万吨的冰融，1秒钟1万吨的冰融的水，这是每一年、每一天、每一秒的平均数字。
According to the scientists from IPCC, told us when we were in Greenland, they told us that every second there's over 10,000 tons of melting ice sheets going to the oceans.
这是一个非常惊人的数字。
It's very astonishing number to us.
当格陵兰岛上的冰融以后呢，全球海平面上升7.4公尺，这是 NASA 公布的数字。
And according to NASA, when Iceland melts in Greenland, the sea level will rise up to 7.4 meters high.
而我们知道马绍尔群岛呢，平均只有在2米左右的平均高度，这也证明了冰融以后呢，可以让马绍尔群岛是全数的都淹没掉。
So as we know, Marshall Islands with an altitude of less than 2 meters. So imagine if all the ice melts in Greenland, that means Marshall Island will all submerge into the ocean.
这1.5度C 的压力呢，足够让马绍尔群岛呢所有的居民和生活都会改变。
So that will bring the really heavy impact for the Marshallese people because that's 1.5 threshold is really a profound warming to us.
那这是我们在当地在埃蹦岛的一位小男孩，就知道这件事情以后呢，把这个格陵兰融冰的这个高度的牌子，就是挂在他的椰子树上。当挂上去的时候，我们现场的人都热泪盈眶，就是很担心他们的未来。
Yeah, thank you, Minister John Silk, bring us to Ebon Atoll. Yeah. And there was a boy over there. He was very brave to take up the signage and climbing the coconut tree and to symbolize how high will the sea level be after the ice melt in Greenland. That when he reached there, we really were all in tears.
一个全球碳排放占比不到7%的一个国家，却承受了全球的碳排放的压力，对他们来讲是非常不公平的。
Yeah, it's really like very unjustified because for Marshall Islands, they only produce like only 0.007% of carbon emissions, but they have to face and endure the global emission from the world.
而且全球将近有40%人口居住在沿岸低洼的城市，那这将影响全球人类的生活。
And over 30% of world population live across the coast cities. So if that happens, that will really affect the livelihood for the world.
是，那我再跟各位报告一下，就是我们的姜氏野可，它来自于埃蹦岛。这个岛呢是非常有名的，我想大家看过《浩劫余生》这部电影啊，就当初有一个船难的一个难民，然后就是漂流到埃蹦岛上面，后来呢就是在那边生活呢，几乎快对生命绝望的时候呢，经由附近的岛民就是发现了他，然后让他重生。
Okay, and I think we know that Minister is from your ancestors from Ebon Atoll. And we have read a story, and I don't know if any of you have seen the movie Castaway. It's actually take the story from the real story from Ebon Atoll. A man drifting like for 16 months to Ebon Atoll, and when he was in despair, actually it's the people, the residents from Ebon Atoll to rescue him. So it's kind of symbolized when a man was in despair, and people from Ebon Atoll save him, give him hope.
所以说，这个带给我们一个非常重要的一个寓意在我们在岛上，就是如果我们能够把埃蹦岛救下来，那就等于救下了马绍尔群岛，救下了太平洋群岛，也救下了我们自己。
So it gives us like symbolic meanings that if we can saving Ebon Atoll's the sea level rise issues, it's like saving the Marshallese people. It's also like saving us.
Yeah. 那么这一次的采访里面，我想跟大家分享最后的心得。
I would like to share with you the thoughts after we went to Marshall Islands and Greenland.
对，我非常的尊重马绍尔群岛的人民。
I really respect the people from Marshall Islands.
当我们访问他每一个居民的时候，他们告诉我的不只是他们，而是全世界的我们。
Yeah, when I interviewed the people from Marshall Island, what they told us is not about themselves, but about the people on Earth.
所以 这次采访让我感受很深。那我也非常谢谢就是让这部影片完成的刚刚的伙伴们。那透过国际的合作，让台湾跟马绍尔也可以在国际的全球环境教育上尽一份心力。
Yeah, I would like to thank, and so when I interviewed them, I really feel really touched and moved, and I believe that only from international cooperation can really save the Earth issue and climate change issue.
Thank you， 公布大大，谢谢。
Thank you. 谢谢。Thank you.
So, Mr. Silk, do you mind to give us some feedbacks on this program? Please.
You know, I have a prepared statement that I was going to deliver. I'm going to deliver part of it, but I think I'm going to talk about my own experience. But let me start by saying yahweh to all of you, and especially to Stephen and his team who came to the Marshall Islands at our invitation to make this documentary. As you will notice, my voice is quivering and tears are dropping down my eyes, and it's because of the story. I am really passionate about the Marshall Islands and climate change. And I'd like to tell the story. I don't know if I told Stephen the story, but a couple of years ago, I and my grandson were sitting outside on the ocean side of my house, and it was a high tide, and the waves keep on coming in over the reef, and then finally my grandson spoke up and said, "Hey, Grandpa, don't you think we ought to move? Because the waves are really coming in on shore," and they were coming close to my porch. And I said, "Well, where should we move? We have no place to move. We have no higher ground." So that was when he was, I think it was, he was in third grade. So he's now living with his parents in Hawaii. And so last year, I came to the COP in Egypt. And I passed through Honolulu, visited with him and his parents. And so he asked me, he's a very inquisitive young man. He liked to talk. So he asked me, "Well, Grandpa, where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to the climate meetings in Egypt." And he said, "Well, will that mean that if you go there, that it's going to solve the problem in the Marshall Islands, in our home?" I said, "Well, you know, it may not solve it now, but the thing is we have to work towards a solution. And it may not come in my generation, but those that come after us, maybe you, will have to take, maybe I'll have to pass the torch on to you so that you can move forward on this issue." But the point here is that climate change affects everyone, like Stephen was trying to say here. It doesn't matter where you're from, or what island you belong to, or what country you're from. It doesn't matter if you're young or old, or male or female, it does affect everyone in many ways, in different ways. And that's an example of this young man. Now he's in 7th grade. He's in middle school. And so the other issue that really needs to be addressed is because for the Marshall Islands, 1.5 is to keep us alive. anything above that, has been depicted in the video, affects the country as a whole. So the question for the Marshall Islands, if we were to work on adaptation, how do we adapt the Marshall Islands in the face of sea level rise and climate change? Because the Marshall Islands it's not just one whole island, it's a combination of many different atolls and islands spread out over 1 million square miles of the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. So if you were to say, okay, let's try to adapt, maybe we ought to save some islands, the decision has to be made. Which islands do you save? And which islands you have to let go? For us, our culture is based on land. Sea and the sea and land are part of us. Generation after generation, we have been born into this culture that respect the sea and the land. And in fact, the Marshall Islands, you inherit your rights to land through your mother. And then we have a word there in the Marshall Islands, we call it Chinililukupo, meaning that your mother is your entitlement, it's you. Without your mother, you're nothing. Because that mother gives you the property the island that you belong to, the land. So, without the land, you're nothing. Your identity is gone, your culture is gone, and probably you will lose your language as well because you have to migrate somewhere else. But the bigger issue for us is how do you decide which islands to adapt, change, and put in seawalls, and which islands we have to let go? It'd be really difficult, and I must say that I'm glad that I won't have to make that decision. Somebody else will have to make that decision, my grandson maybe, or his parents. We have an history in the Marshall Islands of being disposed of our property and land. And so we have learned quite a bit about being left without attachment to the land. And I'll give you an example of the people of Bikini, people of Enemita. These are two atolls that were used for nuclear testing. And some of these people have had to migrate and move somewhere else because their lands have been contaminated, and so they can't go back. So we have an experience with being disposed and being left without any identification as to where your land is, being displaced as basically refugees. But they're refugees within the Marshall Islands, at least, because the rest of the Marshall Islands you could migrate to. But the thing is, even if you go to, let's say you migrate to Majuro, that is where some of the Bikinians are, and the Mitakis are. But they won't feel really comfortable knowing that they're in a property, in a land that is not theirs. They're at the mercy of these people on those lands, on those property. They may speak Marshallese, they know the culture, but they don't feel belong because this is not where they were born. Culture identifies where you are, and your mother identifies where you're from. So that's the story of the Marshall Islands in terms of what's happening now. And the future, honest to God, is bleak. And from what you're seeing on the video, it doesn't look good. I was in a meeting today, and I was listening to all the presentations from many heads of states and ministers. And I got away really feeling more depressed than when I went in, because everything points out to a very bleak future. And I'm talking about the Marshall Islands, but of course, the rest of the world faces the same problem, maybe in a different scale than the Marshall Islands. For us, really the thing is losing your country. then where do you go when you lose your country? So that's where we are at the moment with the issue of climate change. You know, we have been to these COP meetings for a very long time. I mean, probably since the first COP. And today I told the meeting today, I said, look, we have been to all these meetings, and still the commitments are made and broken. So how long are we going to make these commitments and break them? When are we going to say enough, it's enough talk, and let's really do some real hard work to save? I'm not talking about the Marshall Islands, I'm talking about the rest of the world. Save the rest of the world through the Marshall Islands, basically. The Republic of the Marshall Islands, as you know, is a very small country, but we're very ambitious. We were leaders in our NDC in 2018. And here at the COP28, we'll be publishing our first national adaptation plan. That plan calls that plan will chart our course for how we will respond as we face rising sea levels, changing weather patterns, and as we lose islands and our homes and health are put at risk by emissions of others. So, like I said earlier, at some point in time, the Marshall Islands, the leaders of the Marshall Islands, then we'll have to decide of all the islands in the Marshall Islands, if we were to make adaptation, which islands we must save and which islands we must let go. Forget about them. But if you do that, then what's going to happen with these people that migrate to another part of the Marshall Islands but don't really belong because that's not where they were born. That's not where their mothers gave them the rights to live on. They will always feel like nomads. You know, when the Israelis were sitting in the desert for 40 years, at least they were able to finally locate a place where they could call home. But for us, if you lose an island, you'll be drifting in the ocean for the rest of your life. Because you can't call part of the United States home, or you can't call part of the Marshall Islands home, because if you lose your island, you'll be drifting in the ocean, on the ocean, for the rest of your life. So that's the dilemma that we faced in the Marshall Islands. And I want to thank Steve for really projecting this out to the public. I hope this video, makes it out to a bigger audience than tonight. And I want to thank you again, Stephen, and thank you to your team, and thank you, IRI, for bringing us to this evening. Thank you all for coming, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silk. Yes, your voice, we heard it. And just like to share with some wording that keep echoing in my brain that I heard from another leader of an island country. And she told us, yes, we are going to stay with my country to the end, but we need to find the way out for our next generation. We need to keep the culture, and just like you said, the mother's identity. So yeah, it's very, very important. And then let's see what the Itri can do, because to Marshall Island, yes, loss and damage fund may be helpful, but you still need to count on something, especially you start from your own adaptation plan already. You stand still on your feet, and let's see how can we be helpful. And so next I would like to introduce the Deputy General Director from Green Energy and Environmental Research Labs of Itri, And I think he will start from also another video program to let you know what they did right now in Taiwan for the newly innovative technology, including the resilient technology. And then he will also give some introduction about that too. So please, Dr. Zheng.
Thank you, Professor Fan. Honorable Mr. Minister Silk, and our speakers today, and also Chairman Ge, and all the participants of today's event. Welcome to this event co-organized by Marshall Islands and Industrial Technology Research Institute, or ITRI, or Itri, as we used to call it. The Marshall Islands story is really, touching, and I think climate change will affect not only Marshall Islands, but eventually to everyone on this planet. I believe also that the technology breakthroughs will be a crucial part in our effort to combat climate change. And as a leading research institute in Taiwan, Itri has been devoting into technology research for carbon neutrality for many years. And we have made contributions by transferring those technologies to industries and help them to reduce carbon emission worldwide. And also recently, we initiated several projects working on adaptation technology. Like Professor Fan mentioned, those resilient technology perhaps could help countries like Marshall Islands and many others. And in addition to technology innovations, I think another very important thing in our effort to curtail climate change is international cooperations. So we have to work together. And Itri has a very good tradition of international cooperations. We initiate a lot of international research projects in every discipline, including energy technologies. So before the presentation today, I'm going to show you a video that showcases one of Itri's recent examples of promoting international cooperations. We set up a new campus for green energy research. We use that campus as a living lab. And we provide research staff, we provide experimental facilities, we provide infrastructure, and we provide everything to attract international companies to come over and work with Itri to develop the next generation green energy. So I hope you all enjoy today's event, and I do hope this event will be successful and most importantly be informative to all the participants. So everyone can learn something from today's event, and based on what you have learned, let's take actions. Like I said, we can work together, and we need to work together and to combat climate change. And finally, I wish everyone the best, and thank Professor Fan especially to host today's event. And I also wish you can come over to Itri to look into our, to check out our campus. It will be great. So thank you. Thank you. I hope you understand the content of the video because part of it was cut off. I'm truly sorry for that. That's resolution issues, I guess. But anyway, we are setting up this campus and attracting a lot of international companies to come over to Taiwan, and so that we can work together for the next generation green energy, which I believe will be crucial in the global carbon reductions. And once again, I would like to thank everyone for coming over, and I'm going to turn this I guess I have to invite Professor Fan once again to host this event, and thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zheng. Well, you see, from these two video programs, we can somehow see quite a contraction or contractionary, whatever, two kinds of the word in any way. And for this event, I think we try very hard to bring two words can somehow converge together because we are in the one world, in the one planet. And we should learn how to assist each other. And next, I would like to invite three of today's panelists to sit on the stand. First of all, is Dr. Hu Si-yuan, also from Itri. He's a senior engineer from also the Green Energy and Environmental Research Lab of Itri. And secondly, I would like to invite Dr. Liu Zeliang, and he's the senior researcher from Zhonghua Institute for Economic Research. And also thirdly, I would like to invite Mr. Yan Minhong, and he's the director from the Department of Technical Cooperation, Taiwan, ICDF. So, trying to save some time for the very first one. So, Dr. Hu, you can have the floor.
Thank you, Professor Fine. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And I'm very delighted to be here, and I'd like to take this opportunity to show you how Itri can support and assist with the development of a new green industry of offshore wind. But first, please allow me to make a brief introduction to Itri. Industrial Technology Research Institute is a nonprofit research organization. It's founded 50 years ago and is dedicated to provide market-oriented R&D solutions to close the gap between research and commercialization. We have around 6,000 employees. We have more than 31,000 of patents, and we have already set up more than 200 spin-off companies. And the most important mission of Itri is to facilitate industry growth and transformation. In terms of green industry development, we have research teams dedicated to develop technologies related to renewable energy, energy conservation, environmental protection, as well as low-carbon technology. With integration of all these marvelous technologies, we aim to build a healthy and sustainable living environment. And since Itri works so closely with our energy industry, we've been keeping track of its development for quite a long time. As you can see in this chart, the energy dependency is always around 98%, which is too high. So the development in the beginning was focused on energy security. In other words, we need indigenous energy source. So we started the onshore wind business. But then the Fukushima accident happened. And we realized the fact that energy safety is much more important than energy security. So we decided to get rid of all our nuclear power plants, and we started the offshore wind business. And does it make you wonder in this chart why is the offshore wind developed so differently from onshore wind, and how did it become so successful within such a short time? That's because we promote, not just promote offshore wind installation, but we also promote a whole offshore wind industry. And we make the offshore wind industry profitable so that more people are eager to invest in the market. And I must say that Itri plays quite an important role to make our offshore wind business profitable. And these are the key aspects that Itri provides crucial technologies, know-how, and the skills to help our offshore wind market to become more thriving and more profitable. And I will explain each of them in the following slides to show you how we can develop from onshore wind to offshore wind. The first one would be information integration. In Itri, we divide our wind technology staff into 3 teams to cover 3 different fields of offshore wind. The policy team, the laser doesn't seem to work, sorry. The policy team supports the government, and the turbine team works together with our domestic industry, and the resource team align with other academic or research facilities. In other words, Itri works so closely with all players in the game so that we can provide integrated information. I will take the simulation and forecast in the right lower corner as a case example to explain little bit more about what are we doing. And before installing any offshore wind turbines in the ocean, the most critical information we need is the weather condition, because the turbine installation should be completed in one go, so the weather must remain calm and tranquil for a certain duration of time in the following days for a test to be fully conducted. And in Itri, we combine different numerical models of wind, current, and wave to generate a fully integrated and automated forecasting system. And this is the actual web interface of this forecasting system. It provides forecasts of wind speed, wave height, and current speed, and a recommended weather window. And the results were proved to be accurate, and the service was provided to our demonstration offshore wind projects. And it helped the developers avoid numerous weather challenges. And besides technology, Itri also accumulates experiences and know-how about the policymaking process. And what we've learned is that the promotion for offshore wind must be divided into different stages to accommodate different scales of offshore wind farms. So first, we start with small demonstration projects, and then we expand the scale to commercial offshore wind farms, and finally turn to a long-sustaining pipeline. In other words, first, we try to prove that it's possible to establish an offshore wind farm, and then we try to make offshore wind farms profitable, and finally, we secure the future demand to make sure that our offshore wind business will be sustainable. However, the application for offshore wind farms are not always that straightforward and simple. So, for the example here, before acquiring the license to sell electricity, that's the middle one, and the developers must first acquire various different permissions or consents from different authorities. And what's more troubling is that the review of these applications often interfere with one another so that the process can easily be delayed or even halted. And the solution is to establish a single window office to solve any administrative problem that the developers might encounter. And this office happened to be operated by Itri. Because Itri is a non-biased, non-profit, and it's a third party without any interest conflict with any stakeholder. So it's easier for Itri to negotiate with the authorities to provide them with practical information and scientific tools to help them eliminate any concern or doubts so that the review process can be accelerated. Next, infrastructure. Harbors might be the most important infrastructure for offshore wind. We need assembly quayside for turbine installation, and we need foundation quayside for manufacture and export of underwater foundations. And after the offshore wind farm is commissioned, we also need an OM quayside for operation and maintenance tasks. And all offshore wind harbors must consider 3 characteristics: the quayside loading capacity, the storage area, and the logistics. So Itri cooperates with experts from famous offshore wind harbors in Europe, such as Bremerhaven, Grimsby, or Esbjerg. We learn about their experiences and know-how of harbor design and harbor transformation so that we can provide suggestions and solutions to our domestic port company to make sure that our future offshore wind quayside will meet the market demand. And also, we have new substations exclusive for offshore wind also established, which is quite important for offshore wind farms. And all this infrastructure you see here, it requires delicate collaboration between the government and the industry. And Itri is in the best strategic position to provide consultations and services to both sides. And next, ecology. Offshore wind farms must peacefully coexist with marine life, so we need to collect ecological data for comparison before, during, and after the construction of offshore wind farms. And when offshore wind farms become larger and larger, this issue will be raised to the level of marine spatial planning, and it requires thorough and accurate ecological survey to generate persuasive evidence that offshore wind farms can be friendly to our environment. So, Itri established guidelines of ecological survey for offshore wind projects, covering measurements from underwater noise, whales and dolphins, seabed habitat, and to fishes and migrating birds. And these guidelines are based on our practical experience of ecological survey on the Formosa demonstration offshore wind farm. That's our very first offshore wind farm. And we made sure that all procedures and the specifications of the guidelines are compatible with international standards so that any developer following our guidelines can easily demonstrate convincing results to environmentalists or stakeholders. Finally, the sustainability. How can we be sure that our offshore wind business will last for long? Well, Itri has been investigating and monitoring our wind resource for decades, and we suggest to develop offshore wind from the shallow water area to deep water area and reserve this huge area of deeper water for future development. And according to our estimation, the total feasible capacity of offshore wind in the Taiwan Strait area is beyond 21 gigawatts. And this brings us back to this slide in the beginning. We are not only expecting 5.6 gigawatts by 2025. With our abundant offshore wind resource, we are actually expecting 20.6 gigawatts of projects now preparing for the next round of bidding and scheduled to be commissioned by 2035. That will create a steady demand of 1.5 gigawatt every year. So apparently, we not only ignited the market, but also we established a strong pipeline to ensure future sustainability of a long-lasting offshore wind business. As I've mentioned, we don't just promote offshore wind installation, but we promote the whole offshore wind industry. And we promote offshore wind not just for green electricity or carbon reduction, but also for a robust and self-sustaining green society. So a quick summary. I have already shown you that the experiences, technology, and the know-how that the Itri accumulate and contributed in the development of our offshore wind industry. And I just read an interesting article that the Marshall Islands are also tapping into the offshore wind business. And I believe Itri can be your best partner to help you overcome any unexpected challenge. And if offshore wind is not what you desire, no problem. For each kind of renewable energy, Itri has an expert team, just like offshore wind, ready to stand with you and provide our expertise. You can download the slide from the link on the right, and if you want more information about offshore wind in Taiwan, please visit our website of the single service window for wind power. That's my presentation. Thank you very much.
So, you can see that for the Marshall Islands, maybe some policies oriented industry could be helpful. And here, the Itri mentioned about the pre-warning system. Actually, the system has been highlighted as one of the major issues to be addressed in this COP28. So it could be beneficial in the near future for the possible collaborations. And I think that the profitability should not be the priority. That's why we have this loss and damage fund funded. Okay, next I would like to invite Dr. Liu from Zhonghua Research Institute. And from case sharing, he's going to tell us about the mutual cooperation of transnational GHG reduction mechanism. Please, Dr. Liu.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Fan, and then good evening, everyone. Thanks for your time today. And in the beginning, we saw a very touching video. But we know that the time is for action. So in today's presentation, I want to show action, a cooperated cases, cooperate with the Marshall Islands and Taiwan to show how we can do something about the climate change. So today my topic is mutual cooperation of transnational greenhouse gas reduction mechanism. And then in the case, we found that I will briefly discuss from the perspective of a mutual benefit based on the past energy efficiency improvement program in Taiwan and the Marshall Islands that we have cooperated on. And as we all know that technology and then equipment related to the energy efficiency improvement have already been widely used as a response measure to address the climate change. However, the characteristic of this technology, apart from being highly mature and then commercialized, ready for accessible, and then the most important aspect is that there's from an economy aspect. They can bring the negative payment cost in within a project life cycle time. However, despite the aforementioned advantage, we found the major challenge of this kind of project is that they need the initial significant capital investment in the initial stage. So it could bring some barrier to the maybe the general household or even the small and medium enterprise because they have maybe they have sufficient money to support this kind of equipment. Usually, we found that the people doesn't have the we say that they don't replacement their equipment because they have no sufficient money. So before it becomes unusable due to the malfunction, they will not change their using behavior of the equipment. So under the background between the 2020 to 2060 to 2020, we hold a program with Marshall Islands. We call the Marshall Islands Household Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy Program. And then the major stakeholder in this program is the Taiwan International Cooperation and Development Fund. We call the Taiwan ICDF. This team until now is represent Taiwan to be the helper internationally to be the to help our friend, our partner, provide the solution to their problem. Of course, our purpose is to enhance our friends' social welfare. And in this case, the executing entity in Taiwan is Taiwan ICDF. However, the counterpart in the Marshall Islands, including the Ministry of Finance and then the International Developing Bank, Marshall Islands. And then the local helper is the Marshall Energy Company, MEC. So we found that the operational model of this program is that the primary approach of the operation of this program was based on the project financing and loan support. So the Taiwan ICDF extending 4 million USD loan to the Ministry of Finance of Marshall Islands, and then just further distributed by the Ministry of Finance to the Marshall Island Development Bank to be for the job of loan for household. And then the Marshall Energy Company just take the responsibility for the technical part. For example, they just helping the energy audit and then helping to replacement the less efficient equipment in the household. So the beneficiary of this program consists of 200 local households. And then this program constructed in 2 phases. In the first phase, is just apply for the loan. And then in this stage, the MEC, the energy company, will do some energy audit to the applicant to find out that maybe some equipment is less efficient. They will give a suggestion to replace the less efficient equipment. For the second phase, the household seek assistance for the MEC to install the residential solar PV system, thereby reducing the reliance on the fossil fuel-based electricity generation from the main grid. And then we found that, as we know that the addition of energy efficient improvement equipment not only bring the benefit in terms of reducing energy bill for the household, seems that's an attractive part, most attractive part for the household. However, what's more important is that from the national perspective, we wanted the environmental benefit. For example, we want to achieve some greenhouse gas emission reduction. Of course, this kind of project also brings some co-benefit. For example, if we slow down or decrease the use of electricity generated by the fossil fuel-based power plant, and then we can reduce the air pollution. So we can bring the a healthy benefit, co-benefit from this kind of a project. So this program applied what we are interested in is that we try to calculate how much greenhouse gas emission reduction can be achieved by this program. So we just applied the emission estimation framework outlined by the International Financial Institution for project-level investment. More precisely, we just adapted the methodology recognized or developed by the UNCCC, or we call the CDM, Clean Development Mechanism, such like AMS2E for building energy efficient improvement and the fossil switching measure, and the MAS1D for green connected renewable electricity generation. We follow the methodology, try to calculate the possible emission reduction from this kind of a program. According to our estimation, we found that if our program just well operated, and then every year we can bring almost 992 tons CO2 equivalent every year. That's our environmental aspect benefit. Of course, I think it's worth notice that the emission reduction of this program just for the self-deprecated, and then have not just invited third party, the verification body to verify our performance. So as a result, the program have not joined any international voluntary reduction mechanism, such like a CDM or VERA, gold standard, something like that, to obtain the possible carbon credit. So that's a must. Since the Article 6 under the Paris Agreement have been launched, will be launched in the future. So this kind of project maybe can seek the opportunity to obtain some carbon credit from this kind of project. Okay, at the time, the cooperative program was constructed using a financial support approach. However, as time has progressed, a more maturely beneficial model of international cooperation have emerged. So if we were to envision the cooperating in a different manner based on this case presented in this in today's presentation, it's anticipated it could enhance the mutual benefit within the partnership, bring more incentive to attract even the public sector or even the private sector to join the cooperation. If the cooperative model was to shift to Taiwanese company providing the energy technology, equipment, and service, like the Dr. Hu presented, we have a comprehensive supply chain for the energy efficiency related supply chain. So we can provide good equipment and a good service and with a low cost to solving the problem. So in this case, if the $4 million just do the investment for the Taiwan supply chain, provide such like energy efficient technology or solar PV, something like that. Based on our estimation, we found that aside from the 992 ton CO2 emission reduction every year, and then we can stimulate almost $9 million USD production value order in the energy efficient equipment related industry chain, and create approximately 120 possible job opportunity for the industry. What I need to emphasize is that we're just talking about the cooperation model, because even we try to make help, but the pattern or the way to help can be different approach. So if we can increase the more benefit, more incentive for attract the public or private sector to join the partner, we need to tell them what they will obtain from, what is the benefit they join the program. So in summary, today's discussion, we just want to emphasize that in international cooperation project and to addressing the climate change, through the design and selection of a different cooperation model, there is opportunity to enhance the level of mature benefit of both parties involved. In doing so, you will also create more opportunity for public or private sector to enhance in the international cooperation to combat the climate change. And then I need to emphasize that the model just not only by medication, because we have another solution for application. So the international cooperation model can be used in the adaptation plan, something like that. Okay, there's my brief sharing today. Thank you for your attention.
The key finance can serve as the foundation to help in promoting the people's care, related supply chain value, decent jobs, and also the GHG reduction as well. So it's an excellent case that done in Marshall Island. It could be a good experience for the collaboration between Marshall Island and I think Taiwan and Itri. So next, I would like to invite Mr. Yan and from Taiwan ICDF, and he's going to share with us the enhancing low carbon transformation and the resources efficiency by innovative technology utilization in development projects. Please, you can have the floor now.
Sure. Okay, thank you very much, Professor Fine, for your kind introduction. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's really good to be here. And first of all, I would like to express my special thanks to Itri and the government of Marshall Islands for co-hosting such a great event and have ICDF to be part of it. And when I firstly being informed, I'm going to be one of the panelists in this panel discussion, I've been thinking about what I can contribute to this panel discussion as an international development practitioner to talk about ambition, just one day it strikes to me that why not talk a bit about our action, our implementation in our partner countries, because the ambition of a net zero transformation can be just happening overnight. It takes action and small steps to make ambition reality. So today my presentation title is how we use the innovative technology utilization to enhance the low carbon transformation and the resources efficiency in development projects. So this is the outline. I will start with a very brief introduction of Taiwan ICDF to give you an overall picture about who we are and what we do. And next, I will share with you some specific areas that, according to our experience, that the appropriate technology utilization could be very helpful in terms of the low carbon transformation and the resources efficiency. And next, I will share with you some specific project cases and in certain target actions. And to conclude, I will wrap up with some prospects as conclusion as an international development agency for you to take away. So ICDF is the short version of International Cooperation and Development Funds. We are the official development assistance agency of Taiwan, and there are some peer organizations in the world, as you know, like USAID to United States and JICA to Japan. And our mission is to support our ally countries to enhance their socio-economic development and support them to address various development challenges. And as an internationally operating organization, we currently have 21 technical missions in 20 countries. And in this regard, we think this is one of our core strategies because we dispatch our own experts on the grounds in our partner countries to make sure our work could be very down to earth and to fit into the local context. And our strategy is to apply Taiwan's comparative advantage to respond to our partner countries' needs, and through the approach of integrating public and private sector resources. As our ultimate goal is to strengthen the cooperative partnerships between Taiwan and our partner countries. So what we do and how we deliver. The development is a very wide area. There isn't any single organization could touch on all the development issues. So we focus our resources in the 6 priority sectors. They are agriculture, education, environment, small and medium enterprise development, public health, and information and communication technology. And what is very important is that these 6 sectors are keys to Taiwan's successful transformation from a recipient country to a donor country. So this is what I mentioned earlier, that we apply Taiwan's comparative advantage to support our partner countries. So for delivering this, the development results in these 6 sectors, we have 4 operation tools. They are technical cooperation, education and training, lending and investments, and humanitarian assistance. So among this broad and very wide range operation scope that we have in ICDF, I would like to bring your attention to 3 subcategories that we have, and according to our experience, is very useful for the low carbon transformation. The first one is the circular agriculture. As you know, the importance of agriculture has never been so significant in this climate change era. And agriculture is also one of the main topics that Taiwan contributes to the international development. So we have been engaging in the agricultural sector for more than 6 decades. And our agricultural work is actually evolving and adapting to the changing environments, especially to tackle the climate change. And the second subject is the solid waste management, because you know, especially in the small island developing states, due to their very limited land mass, the solid waste causes a very huge challenge for them. So we introduced Taiwan's experience to support them to tackle this solid waste challenge. And the last one is the public service transformation. We use the IT tool to promote access and inclusion of people, especially to transform and to modernize the public service of our ally countries. And in the following several slides, I will walk you through some project cases that we have in our partner countries. The first one is the circular agriculture in Marshall Islands. As you know, the agriculture is a long-standing cooperation subject between Taiwan and the Marshall Islands. We are the only one foreign aid organization that we have our own demonstration farming sites in the Marshall Islands. We currently have two sites, one in the main atoll, Majuro, which is the Lola farm, and the other one is in the outer island, Guajaland. And you know, just like I mentioned earlier, one of our core strategy is to have our own team on the ground. And this is very important and significant for the small island developing states. Since we have our own team on the ground, so we could make sure our work could be adaptive to the local challenges. And currently, we promote two projects. One is the enhancing nutrition balance through agricultural production projects, and the other one is livestock expansion project. And you know, the agriculture in small island states has double benefits. One is for the food security, especially in the past 3 years. We all have witnessed the importance of local production when it comes to the COVID lockdowns, the climate change, and the conflicts. And the other benefits of agriculture is the nutrition enhancements, because we know that the non-communicable diseases are actually impacting the human capital of the small island developing states. But as long as we know the importance of agricultural developments, but agriculture is also one of the main greenhouse gas emissions according to the analysis. So how to increase the how to increase the outputs of agricultural productivity, and in the meantime to reduce the inputs and to reduce the carbon emission is one of the challenges that we have in Marshall Islands. So we have double measures. One is the circular economy, because the waste of one project could be useful or quality inputs for another project. For example, we use the waste, the pig manure from our livestock projects, and we invest into our horticulture projects to make compost and inputs in the vegetable and the fruit production to reduce the import agricultural material from outside. And the other measure is the solar panel, because we know the operation of farm could be very energy consumptive. So we set up the solar panel to reduce the energy consumption from the fossil fuels. And the other solid waste management is another area that we have in the Marshall Islands. And this is also an extending benefits from our agricultural work. We collaborate with the College of Marshall Islands to set up a processing facilities in the college. And so we import some Taiwan-made solid waste processing machines. And so we work with the local community and the church and the school to collect the waste plastic bottle. And so we send this plastic bottle and transform them into the trays and so the pods, which is useful for the cultivation. And then so we provide the seedlings and the compost that's fabricated by the Taiwan Technical Mission, and to combine these two things and to promote to the local citizens to encourage them to grow their own vegetables and the plantation. And another solid waste project is in the Caribbean island states, which is the St. Kitts and Nevis. We raise a lot of public awareness training programs to the local people, and so we work with the local supermarkets to set up the collection points and encourage the local people to send back those plastic material they have bought from the supermarkets. And so we, again, we collect these plastic bottles and send it to our processing facilities and hope we can reuse this solid waste plastic bottle again. And in addition to those technology engagements, we also value the capacity building a lot because we want the projects could be sustainably operated in our partner countries. So we carry out a lot of capacity building programs, and every year we held almost 20 training programs, and we host those mid-level technicians or mid-level officers to come to Taiwan and share our Taiwan experience on various subjects. And one thing worth mentioning is that we work with like-minded countries such as USA, United States, to co-organize these training programs and to support our beneficiaries, countries' officers to level up and to learn some advanced and new technology in various development issues. And the last case I would like to introduce is how we use the ICT technology to transform the public service. This is a project case that we have in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the Caribbean. This is a digital transformation of the bus systems because the minivans is very important. It's a major public transportation for the people in the St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But before our engagements, there is no system approach, and there isn't even no fixed routes for these minivans. So the local people have to spend a lot of time on waiting buses coming. And so we use the ICT technology to set up the smart bus stop in the whole country. And so we also introduced the on-bus units, which calls the OBU, on the minivans. And we collect this information and could predict what time the minivans will come to the stop and show it on the smart bus stop. And also, we use those data and information that we collected from the OBU and the bus stop to redesign and optimize the bus routes to long term. Maybe we can, through this optimization of the bus routes, to cut down, to reduce the gasoline consumption. So the last case is the energy efficiency in Marshall Islands. I think my fellow panelist, Dr. Liu, has been give you a very comprehensive information about this project. So I will skip this one and just jump to my conclusions. So just like sure. We have mentioned the importance of technology, but according to our experience as an international development agencies, the technology innovation could not be just replicated from developed countries to developing countries. It needs to be adapted. It needs to be transformed. And the local context is very important in this process information. So it's great to share our work of ICDF with you. And thank you very much for your attention.
Well, thank you, Mr. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. It's grateful that we can learn from what Taiwan ICDF has done so far to assist so many countries, and including like circular agriculture, solid waste management, and the public service transportation, especially the IT application.